Hey guys, welcome back to Horror Thoughts. We had a little bit of a hiatus just with holidays and everything, but we're back to talk about what I'm sure is the most talked about movie out right now, Firestarter. We're going to talk about both the original 1984 movie and the recently released remake from Blumhouse. Um, Obviously, both movies are based on a book by Stephen King. I have not read that book. Have you?
I have not read that book. I'm not a big reader.
Are you a big Stephen King guy at all?
He's got some movies of his that I really like, and then some that are very miss for me. It's kind of one or the other, honestly.
Yeah, I've read three and a half of his books because I couldn't finish it because it is very long and very boring. Um, I guess I'm kind of in the same boat in terms of the movies. Some I really love and some less so. This is my first time seeing the original Firestarter. I had not seen it before. I guess we'll kind of start there.
Yeah,
So
I'm
these
I'm
two,
in the same camp as well. I'd never honestly heard of these movies. I know I had watched an old horror movie show once where they had talked about this movie as like a Carrie ripoff, and it's funny to think that it's made by the same guy who made both. But other than that, I knew nothing of what this movie was about whatsoever.
he loves psychic powers. Like it's weird to call this specific one a Carrie ripoff because it's all he does. Not all he does, but he loves going to psychic powers.
As far as before we start, I had to look these up just because I was curious. The 1984 one got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb, and the new one got a 4.6. And the first article title I found whenever I googled it was "the worst Stephen King adaptation ever." So it sounds like people aren't the biggest fans of really either of these. It's kind of surprising. The first one with not that big of a following got a remake. That was the first thing I thought.
Yeah, they're both pretty low on Rotten Tomatoes as well. I think the original's somewhere around like 30% roughly, and the new one's at like 11.
Yeah, because you get why
So
they would
pretty
remake
rough.
Friday or Nightmare or Chuck because they have this big cult thing, and then this one, it's like it didn't sound like it made any waves, not really a big cult following, and they're like, let's remake that movie, that'll work.
Maybe the book was more of a hit. Um,
Maybe so.
and sometimes it's just, we had a really popular Stephen King adaptation a couple years ago
Oh,
with
that's
the
true.
It remake. So there is a bit of let's go back through and look at his work again. We had a Shining sequel. I think they're doing a Children of the Corn remake. I don't know if that ever came out. Um, I think there was a Pet Cemetery remake. So I think it's just a matter of there was a big hit one. So let's try and see if we can do something.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But this original movie came out in '84, directed by Mark Lester and written by Stanley Mann. It was offered to John Carpenter because this was made
Ooh.
at Universal and he really wanted to do it. He spent a lot of time developing it, but then The Thing came out and underperformed, and so Universal fired him. So yeah, I guess we can just get into our thoughts on the first film, which I looked at a couple of the reviews and I didn't write down the quote, but Roger Ebert didn't say nice things, but there are just a couple words that I think he used that I think are very apt, which is boring and flavorless.
Yeah, I would take that. My first thought when I saw this movie was that I feel like this is one of those you had to be 7 to 12 when you watched it the first time, and you'd have the nostalgia love for it. Because
Hmm.
outside of that, I can't see it being a big hit for teenagers then, or now, or adults then, or people like us watching it 30, 40 years later.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold that weight. Whereas even if you watch a movie like I don't know, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the 70s now, you still have some sort of feeling towards it. There's still some sort of vibe coming off of it. Whereas this one, it was like, I think if you weren't within a 5 year demographic of age, I don't think this movie probably did much for anybody. Not that it's egregious or a worst movie I've ever seen, but it just doesn't have a lot going on.
Yeah, I had a hard time paying attention or um, getting any sort of investment. The the acting's not great, which is weird because this is kind of a stacked cast.
It
Like
really
looking at
is.
it, you've got Drew Barrymore, who sure was like a baby at the time and not Drew Barrymore yet. Then you've also got Martin Sheen and George C. Scott in there,
That's what I
who is
put in my
just
pros. I love George C. Scott. I put that down before the movie started. Then as the movie went on, I was like, damn it.
He's chewing all of the scenery. Really, him and Martin Sheen feel like the only people having a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're
this.
just going.
They're
for
having
it.
a good time.
Yeah,
Which good for them. I did like George C. Scott. I thought he was all right, and kind of the whole thing where he like pretended to be Charlie's friend, but he was really just trying to manipulate her. I thought that was kind of an interesting dynamic.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the pros I had is they had a little bit of, um, I wouldn't call it music, but I guess like the score on certain scenes. It was very. The first thought I had was like that sounds like what It Follows wanted to sound like. Like it had like weird plinky sounds, and I could see where that maybe not from that movie specifically, but when It Follows came out and that was the big soundtrack style that people wanted, I could see a little bit of that in that movie where it wasn't necessarily just music as it was the kind of ominous, weird Electra sounds. I kind of liked it. And it wasn't every scene, but there were a couple scenes where they had that going, and it's definitely the first thing I thought of when I heard it.
I guess I didn't really notice the music. There wasn't a whole lot I noticed where I was like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Um,
Yeah. Let's see if I got other pros. There was I thought the blowing up of the car and like the fire effects for the time were actually pretty, not the actual fire effects, but the real fire scenes where they're blowing cars up and
sure.
shit. I thought those were pretty cool. The effects were obviously very dated. Like
No,
the bullets.
I miss seeing effects like that when they would just like blow cars up.
Yeah.
Just
So
for fun.
She just went hard for 3 minutes, just blowing cars to pieces. And
yeah.
then at the very end, there was one, and I think they replicated it in the new one, but there were 3 cops and they all ran different directions and they had fire trails follow. It was going, then it broke off to follow each of them and catch them. I thought that was a really cool effect that they did. Unfortunately, that's the only pros I have written down. Those are the only things I noticed.
It's funny because this tells you how just utterly checked out I was watching it, but you keep saying a couple things and I'll be like, I have no idea what he's talking about. And I just watched this.
I watched
like
it
a week ago.
I watched it with my wife and I dozed off for I think 15 minutes. And then I was woken up and I really don't think I missed anything.
Just them hanging out in that facility for 3 hours.
Just sitting around.
Like, oh my God.
The only con that I wrote down, besides I guess it being boring, is there's a part where George C. Scott just aggressively karate chops a guy in the nose and kills him. And I think that was the dumbest sequence I've ever seen. He sneaks up on him. I'm like, oh, damn, he's going to like slit his throat or something. He just right to the nose, and that's the end of it. The dumbest kill I've ever seen.
God, I don't remember that either.
Oh, God.
Did I actually watch this movie?
I honestly, even if you didn't, you've seen enough of it to get it. You just... that's all I wrote down for the night.
What's a weird thought I had is I feel like the bit where they go and stay with the old couple, I feel like I've seen that in so many movies. Like, I don't know why that's a thing where like people on the run, they wind up with like some old nice farmer couple and then they get attacked. And it's like, I feel like I've seen this in like 10,000 movies. And I don't know where that's from or like why that's such a thing.
They also believed him super fast whenever the grandpa was like, I know your name's not Frank. And he's like, yeah, it's Alex. The girl goes out to feed the chickens. By the time she comes back, this dude has already convinced him that they are on chase by a government organization called The Shop, and they're on the run. And I'm like, damn, dude, he's got some smooth talking skills. He's able to convince someone of that in a minute and a half.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of festive. He's just really chill. He's just
Yeah,
like,
he's
yeah,
like, oh,
sure.
okay, yeah. So you're being chased by a government agency I've never heard of. That's believable. Let me get my gun and defend you. You couldn't be lying.
That dude could have said anything and the farmer would have believed him.
He was all about it. He was like, let's do this.
Just mesmerized by his hair.
Yeah, he did have some good hair. I'll give him that.
I will say it is hilarious to see, like, see opening credits and you start seeing like the cast and you see like George C. Scott, Martin Sheen, Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah, they kind of stacked it for nothing, really. I thought it was kind of cool how they were trying to teach her how to control her ability by just like toasting bread.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of cool that they're trying to figure out ways to like
Safely do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Until she gets pissed and just lights her mom's arms on fire.
Which they're super casual about.
Yeah, everyone who gets caught on fire is just like, ah, and then they don't do anything. I'm like, maybe put it out. The one guy at the airport at the beginning, she caught his feet on fire, and he stood there, and then just decided, I'm not gonna stop and try to put this out. I'm just gonna sprint out of the airport.
His first thought was, I got to get to the toilet.
Yeah,
that's where I'll put this out.
He stood there for so long, being like, "Oh shit, my shoes are on fire."
It feels like they couldn't quite decide how like comedic or silly they wanted this to be.
Yeah,
because there are moments where like, okay, maybe this is a comedy, but they're very few and far between. And I can't get a grasp on what this movie is actually trying to do because it's never really like scary or intense.
Yeah,
it's not really horror.
There's not even a good like vibe or aesthetic going consistently. It's just like it wasn't terrible, but I would never watch it again. I would never have a reason to.
Yeah, and then you learn that like John Carpenter wanted to make it, and it's like, all right, now I'm mad.
Now I'm upset about it. That could have been cool.
God damn it. I don't think he's ever done a Stephen King adaptation.
Not off the top of my head, I don't think.
Has he done really much adaptations? I guess The Thing is a remake. I guess he tends to do original stuff.
Yeah, I don't know too many Carpenter ones off the top of my head, but everyone I can think of, I think is his.
All right, well, that's
1984.
The original. Do you want to move to the new one?
Yeah, that's all I got for the 1984 one. Shout out George C. Scott. I love him.
This new one, directed by Keith Thomas, written by Scott Teems, with, I'm sure, equally loved Zac Efron. I'm sure he's just as beloved as George C. Scott in terms of actors.
As far as just, you said the director's name, just to kind of honestly pad this episode a little bit because I don't know how much I can talk about this. He is a director of a music video called "I Disappear," the
Metallica music video.
"I Disappear When You're Near."
Oh, not the Metallica music video.
He's got a video, one episode of Cabinet of Curiosity.
No idea what that is.
And that's his credit. So there you go.
Damn.
That's what he's got going for him.
He is the third director to join this. I read that. They've been at this for a few years, and he is the third director.
Damn.
So I think originally it was Akiva Goldsman. He left, and then they brought someone else in, and that didn't work out. And so Thomas is the third guy.
So it says that the writer for this, he did Firestarter, Halloween Kills.
Ah, that's why I knew that name. I was like, that name is familiar. So he co-wrote Halloween Kills with David Gordon Green and Danny McBride.
They're doing The Exorcist in 2023, and he's writing it. So if this doesn't work out, it's your fault, Scott Teems. Don't ruin this for me. And then he's doing Insidious
Blumhouse
5.
is going on him. Blumhouse is just all in on him, I guess.
The Insidious franchise, The Exorcist reboot.
They're Blumhouse, right?
Good Lord.
Insidious is Blumhouse, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're really
something he did they really liked.
Because I'm looking at everything before this. He did the movie called The Quarry. I've never heard of that. And everything else was years and years ago. So I don't know what he did to
the Halloween Kill script just blew him away.
I guess he must have crushed it. I mean, that's crazy. Well, there you go. So they had They had a good writer behind it, I guess. I didn't. I didn't really care for Halloween Kills, but
I thought this one was okay.
I had a fun time with this one.
I definitely think it's better than the original. It's got a lot more bite than the original. It it's a little more violent. It's a little more intense. It's a little more tragic. Like you feel some of like the sadness and the intensity of this a little more. Like Charlie has like a big Carrie style rampage at the end that I liked. There are real consequences to her powers when she does stuff like set her mom on fire. It's not just like,
whoops,
why'd you do that for? It's like, no, like her mom is in like insufferable pain. And they sort of have scenes talking about like how tough it is, both for the parents and for Charlie, where it's like, just imagine like you've got this baby who can set things on fire.
Yeah, at any
like,
moment.
Like she could set her crib on fire. She could like herself, like she's a baby and a child. How is she supposed to do this? Yeah. And I appreciated a lot of that stuff. I thought that was really cool. Seeing her at school, trying to just control it and not freak out. And the school thinks she built a bomb in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah, I really honestly had a good time with this movie. And then when I saw the reviews, like I didn't think it was that bad as people were putting it out to be. I thought it was a fun watch. It had a lot of cool things. As far as some of my pros, I know my number one is already Kurtwood Smith because I love Kurtwood Smith, so I already put that down.
That scene was so good.
Yeah,
that was one of the best scenes of the movie. Like honestly, I wish he had been in it a little more because wow, I thought that was really great.
I thought that by the end too. I said they only did one scene with him. Like they had a lot. They should have put a lot more in there with him. I felt.
Yeah, he's in the opening credits to sort of set up like the experiment and stuff, but really he only has that one scene.
And it was so good.
Yeah.
So I put that down. I thought the effects were really good. Like when the little details, like when she was in the back of that guy's car and she's calmly telling him, like, I need you to tell me where he's at. You don't have a gun. And she's just like tearing through him. When she finally gets mad enough to set him on fire, you could see where the seats of the car are burned out from where her fire went through the back seat to the front. And like half his body's just burned off. I thought
that burn effect was fantastic. Like beautiful. They clearly did some like makeup and it's like, wow.
But even on the mom's arms, when they showed her wrapping it, me and my wife were like, oh God, that looks painful. Because the practical effects mixed with the CGI, I think it was a perfect mix for this movie.
Mm-hmm. And even the dad's effects I thought were better because in like the OG, he kind of just does like this and it's like super awkward and silly every time. Where in this one they have like, it's more like a creepy neck crack he does. Yeah, and then his eyes kind of bleed and like, it's a lot more unsettling.
Yeah, it's enough to make you realize, one, he's obviously trying to control something. Two, how terrifying that would be if he was looking at you. If you just saw someone, they walk out and they're like, don't do it. And they crack their neck and just start pouring blood out their eyes.
Yeah.
What? So that's, the effects of this movie I thought were amazing, just as far as how much detail they put into the burns, things that have been burned, what they look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was very good. And Kurtwood Smith. I'll give him another shout out.
That scene was really good. I want to shout out the score because this is a John Carpenter score. Not him by himself, but him with his son and somebody else, which is also the team that's done the 2 recent Halloween movies. And I thought the score was really, really good. That was probably my favorite part of the movie. I mean, I'll always be down for a John Carpenter score.
Is John Carpenter just focusing on scores with his son now? Or is that kind of the lane he wants to go down? Or as he said, he's just kind of doing it to do it?
I don't know, to be honest, like, because this was a complete like surprise to me because I figured he did Halloween just because, you know, they finally invited him back to sort of produce and then like his music is iconic. Why wouldn't he do the music? But it's interesting for him to just like, I'll just do scores. I'm open to it if he just wants to do Blumhouse scores forever.
Man, that's what I'm thinking. In my head, I'm like, he's towards the end. He's definitely at the end of his movie career. He's older. He's with his son. Mm-hmm. It's probably fun just making scores with your son and doing that. So I wouldn't be surprised.
He might have been involved in Studio 666 doing the score because he had a cameo in that.
Let's
So
see.
maybe he is just doing scores now. Because I remember him seeing him in there in the movie, being like, "Hey, it's John Carpenter." Well, he's looking that up. I will sort of talk about my one big complaint, which is the character Rainbird, who was George C. Scott's character in the original. In the book, he is Native American, so that's what he is here. I don't know which version is more faithful to the book. I'd be curious to know. But every scene Rainbird had just confused me.
Do you, I back to just a real quick cut back to
No, you're good.
1984. Do you realize how insane it is that they're like, we need to convince them that George C. Scott's Native American? So they just put him in a ponytail and give him like a little shitty fucking garb, and they're like, they'll get it. I watched this cheesy B movie in the 70s. It's called Stanley, and they always reference this dude is as white as me and you, and they want to make him a Native American so bad. So the whole movie they just keep going like, "Where are you going, red man?" They like use all these like just egregious references, and it's like, dude, he is so white. Like you couldn't have got anyone tanner to do this movie. And that's what I felt like when they were like, "George, we need a Native American." He's like, "Got it." Ponytail. He's like, "How's that look?"
I've got the perfect wig for this.
I know I'm the white guy from the Changeling, but I could definitely be a Native American in this. So at least they did that with the new one.
Yeah. But in this one, he has powers, and he didn't original. Though saying that, I'm forgetting what his powers are.
He could do the push thing like the dad could in a way.
Oh, okay.
That's why they always kept his eyes covered. And at the beginning, he was so confused. He's like, she can't hurt me if she can't look me in the eyes. Then that's when the daughter blows up.
But yeah, I just found his character really confusing, where he seemed to not want to be an assassin and seemed to kind of like regret what he was doing. But then he was utterly ruthless every time he had to do it. And then the ending I thought was really weird with him. I just feel like we missed a lot of stuff. Like I feel like there's just stuff missing with his character.
Yeah, I could see that. I know there was a line where they were capturing him or something to the effect where he said, if you would have seen the little girl, you know that she's different. And then from that point on is when he starts like shooting the cops and like kind of seems like on her side. So it seems like what they were trying to convey was that he killed the mom, you know, as the job. And once he met the girl, he realized I shouldn't have killed now that I've killed the mom, I have a stake in the game. This girl's different. And so that's why the rest of the movie, he's like her defender, if you will.
See, because I thought he was still just after her at that point.
No, I
didn't realize because he led her to the facility.
Yeah, so I think he set it all up to do it once he realized who she was and got to see that she's different, and he had some compassion for the little girl. Whereas before, it's just killing this woman for whatever reason. Then he met the girl, and he had a different. But they didn't really convey it that well. It was just one line that I happened to pick up when he said it. And then once the ending came and her fire wasn't working, I was like, he's going to come in and save this. So I think that's what they were going for. I just don't think they conveyed it that well into the movie.
My only other thought was that maybe the mom did something. Because like she has a line to him that he repeats later. So I was like, did she like psychically do something to him? Like, I don't know. I feel like something there is missing.
I feel like there's a disconnect in the script somewhere that didn't tie it together enough. And
maybe scenes got cut because it's pretty short.
It was definitely. So the 1984 was an hour and 48 minutes, and this one was an hour and 38. And dude, that 1984 one, I would have swore was 3.5 hours.
I thought it was close to 2, but it feels long. And I assumed you watched it on Peacock as well, meaning you have to watch it with ads.
Yeah, as soon as the ads kick on.
It's even longer. It's like, I've been here for a week.
Yeah, the second one I thought went super quick because I watched them in succession. So I watched the first one and I was like, fuck, I don't want to watch the second one. And that one was over before I knew it. I had a good time with it. It went quick.
Yeah, we went to the theater to see it.
That would have probably been cool in the theater, I bet, with the score and the effects and the fire and stuff.
Yeah, it was fun.
So yeah, all in all, I don't get the disdain for this movie where it's Stephen King's worst adaptation. This movie's
No
horrible.
way.
I don't get
No
it.
way. No way. Those people have never seen those TV miniseries. Those people have never seen The Rage Carrie 2.
I was about to say The Rage Carrie 2. That's funny.
Give me
Yeah,
a
that's.
break with the worst one. Come
Let
on.
me let me see if I can find the exact headline because it was the first thing I read when I clicked on it, and I was like, "That's not right. I don't agree with that."
I thought the
Why
girl was pretty good.
Firestarter 2022 is worse than the first Stephen King adaptation, From It to Firestarter. Firestarter dropped 65% in theaters. Firestarter continues an annoying Zac Efron career trend. So apparently people are pissed at Zac Efron for doing this movie.
I thought he was fine.
What is his annoying career trend? That he's playing a dad now? He's of dad age. He can't go
I
around
think he's
singing
just-
in high schools.
I think it's just that kind of Rob Pattinson, Kristen Stewart thing where he did a movie people consider as lesser a long time ago. And so he always has to be like, fuck that guy. Just because of High School Musical. So it's always like, oh, he's the High School Musical guy. Fuck him.
Yeah, it's so weird to me.
That kind
He's a
of
good
thing.
actor. Like, it's crazy.
I like him.
Yeah, what do you want?
I'm used to him being comedic because he seemed to lean really hard into sort of being like a dumb frat boy kind of thing
Yeah.
in several movies. And this is very different from that. But I thought he was fine. He was solid.
Yeah, it's funny. People, it's a horrible career change. It's like he's 35. You want him singing around a high school gymnasium? That's illegal. That's weird. Like he's a dad, dude. Like you don't want to see him and his 40-year-old friends dancing in a gymnasium.
He could be the coach now.
Exactly.
There's a TV reboot on Disney Plus.
There you go.
I think.
I never got into the High School Musicals as a kid, so
Me neither.
definitely not.
I was
time.
I was think a little too old for it.
Yeah, I was at the
out.
age gap where I was at that age where I'm like stupid. Like I was.
Yeah,
that's where
sure.
I was.
Singing in movies, no.
Yeah. So I kind of missed the boat on that one. My Disney movies were like Luck of the Irish, and
yeah, Halloween Town, Phantom
stuff
of
like that.
Their weird Phantom of the Opera that was at a movie theater.
I never saw that one.
That one is the bane of my existence because the Phantom was named Sean.
Oh,
It's like, God damn it.
bane of my existence is Euro Trip because Scotty doesn't know is a song. So I hear that pretty often.
Oh man.
The amount of times I'll say something or I'll be at work or with people and I'm like, I don't know. They're like, oh, what a coincidence. Scotty doesn't know. And I'm like, I haven't heard that one before.
Matt Damon pops up in the weirdest small roles.
That is such an odd moment. Did I guess Zoom changed it now to where
Yeah,
COVID.
I just saw it come up.
Son of a bitch. All right, we got 10 minutes left. All right. Good thing we're talking about Firestarter, not something like the perplexities of like The Shining or something. Like,
do you want to go over some news in our remaining?
Yeah, let's knock out these
9.5 minutes.
9. That's pretty fucked up. Okay, good to know for the future. Yeah, you can start off with the horror news. I'll try.
Yeah. Before we get into that, I just will say I do recommend seeing it. It's not like the greatest thing ever, but I thought it was fun.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a fun watch. It's definitely fun to go out and see. I had a good time with it. Not the 1984 one, unless you grew up with it, you're not gonna enjoy it whatsoever. I mean,
you can skip that one unless you just need to see every movie one of those actors made. But like other than that, like pass. Huge skip.
I just typed in horror news, and the first thing that came up is top 10 horniest horror movies. It's like, okay.
Well, that's our next episode.
That's what we'll be breaking down next week, everybody.
Spoilers. God damn it. So just to kind of quickly go through some stuff. We got a trailer for something that seems kind of horror adjacent, kind of a thriller movie I think it's called Don't Worry, Darling, or something like that. It's the new Olivia Wilde movie that she directed, starring Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. And it just looks super interesting and creepy. Chris Pine is also in it. So that looks super fun. Scream 6 news for the 20 people that care about the new characters. The people that survived Scream 5 are in Scream 6. I believe Courtney Cox, if she hasn't been signed on yet, is close to signing. Nev Campbell has just been signed on to be part of the adaptation of the video game Twisted Metal, which is shooting here pretty soon, and it looks like it might conflict
I
with
saw
when Scream 6 is shoot. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. She's also in a new show I saw on Netflix.
Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a movie with Matthew McConaughey, right? That's the.
I think so.
I guess
so.
they tie together. I haven't seen it.
I have no idea.
So I wonder if that'll conflict with her being in Scream, if she's got to film more seasons of that, or what. That was my thought. I wonder if she's more committed to that.
And it looks like Twisted Metal might shoot at the same time Scream 6 is shooting. So kind of up in the air about whether or not she'll be in it. The Evil Dead game, video game, just came out. I have not played it because I'm not a big Evil Dead guy, but it's a thing and people seem to be having fun with it.
Sold 500,000 copies in 5 days.
Jesus Christ.
And that was 2 days ago. So
fuck. That just came out.
Yeah, apparently it's a very good game, everybody.
Video games are really lucrative. Like a lot of these, I think I've said this before, but I do think some of these franchises should look more to games.
Yeah.
Because I think there's more of a future there. We talked about the TV show Freddy's Nightmares going to some weird, never heard of streaming service. But it is now, because that's a paid service, it's now going to Tubi.
No.
So it'll be on Tubi as well, which is free with ads. So if you didn't want to pay for Freddy's Nightmares, you can now watch it with ads. A movie just got announced with Amy Adams called Night Bitch, which I'm mostly mentioning because I love the title. It's a great title.
Okay. Awesome.
But I think the premise is something like she believes she's a werewolf. So it's kind of like that Nick Cage movie where he thinks he's a vampire. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nice.
I think. I just love Amy Adams, so I'll probably watch that. And then for last thing I wrote down, for all you Supernatural fans, if there are any left after the never-ending 30-year run of that show, there is now a prequel that's coming. That a trailer just got released. That'll be about the parents of the main characters of Supernatural.
That's great. My wife will watch that, and I'll want to blow my brains out. So that's good.
She'll probably complain to you about it because watching the trailer, having seen a chunk of Supernatural, it makes no sense in terms of like continuity to Supernatural. Like I watched the trailer and I was like, there are 5 things I don't understand.
I'm glad that I could mentally prepare myself for this upcoming season. As far as little things I see on here, he covered most of it. For big The Thing fans, and I know the theater around my house used to do them a lot. I don't know if it's every theater, but Fathom Events is doing a 40th anniversary release in June to bring it back in theaters. So
Fathom Events are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
I did the Scream one and I was like, damn. And there's like nothing extra either. It's just the movie. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I figured they added like something to it. I never went to one, but
there were a couple of featurettes, very small ones for Scream, but they weren't new. They were things that I guarantee are probably on the DVD or Blu-ray.
And then finally, I got 8 movies releasing this week. It says, if I can get it to load. A modern horror fairy tale, Hatching, came out rather on the 17th. It looks pretty gruesome in this picture, actually very sickening. Called Hatching. Hollow, never heard of that movie either. Mm-mm. They have a clip of Paranormal Activity in it, so that's weird. Nothing I've heard of coming out this week. Men, I heard that was a really good movie.
Yeah,
heard that was a mind fuck, if you will. Yeah, so not much really on the Evil Bong 888 will be the final film in the Evil Bong franchise. For anyone, I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently,
I feel like I've heard the title before.
Well, they've had 9.
I didn't know it was a series.
15 years and 9 movies later, Evil Bong 888 will be the final film. So,
that's a lot.
Let's see. We got John Patrick Jordan from Law and Order SVU in there, so it's
yay.
I guess that's the big stand that they took here, put in the article. So yeah, there's a trailer premiere of Evil Bong Infinity High if you want to see it. So it's going to be the last one, guys. Don't want y'all to miss out, all you Evil Bong fans. So yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, well, I guess that'll do it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching or listening, depending on how you're consuming the podcast. Be sure to subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.